Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to do something quite simple today, but it's a job that you can do in several different ways, and this is the way I like to do it for basically for speed, efficiency, accuracy, and also it's a lot cleaner to do it this way. Basically what I've got here are two oak newel posts, and these need to be housed round the stairwell landing. So both of these need to have a notch taken out of them. I'm going to get on and do that now, just using a circular saw, a hand saw, and not a lot more than that, maybe a chisel. And it's just the way I prefer to do it. It's quicker, cleaner, and really simple too. I've got a rod. This bit of batten represents the landing position. I've just taken this from upstairs. These newels are slightly long, so I've got this positioned so when I can notch these out, these newels, I can slot them in situ. I can use a laser level to mark the tops and bottoms and get them exactly level. This batten represents the amount I'm actually taking out. And then I've also got a little block of offcut of newel, and this represents the depth, which I'm just going to use to mark it out. So the first job would be place on my rod and mark it. I'm going to do this twice because I've got two newels to do. I'm going to mark that as well. I'm going to square that across using any square. So this is what we're taking out basically. And it's all about speed as well. So what are the other types of ways that you can do this? Well, you can do it with basic hand tools and chisels. And once you've marked your joint out, let's finish marking those out. So I'm going to turn it on the side and use this block. I'm going to slot that over the top of here. And I'm going to mark the side shoulder here. I'm going to do the same here. And then I'm just going to run this down the back. There. And that gives us exactly what we're looking for. So that's what's coming out. I'm going to mark the other side too. There we go. So that's our notch. Repeat that process over here, of course. And then down the back. You could use a marking gauge if you want, but because we're going to do this all mechanically, we don't really need to go to the extent of that. I'm going to use, as I say, the circular saw. The other way of doing it is on a chop saw, of course. You can use a saw like this behind me. You can set the depth and you can do lots of cuts across and basically then chop out the joint. So we know we need the circular saw set to a certain depth, right? But here's a little tip for you. Circular saws need to be checked for square. And when you've got a lovely bit of joinery material like this, it's beautifully square. So to check my circular saw, I'll take off the clamp here. I'm going to offer it on, and I'm going to make sure that it sits perfectly square with the timber. Now I'm going to tighten myself back up. And that is effectively square. Let me show you what I mean. If I hold over the saw here, what I'm doing is offering it on the side of the newel post. There's an offcut here. And just checking it's absolutely perfect, okay? So that is absolutely perfect. And that's what we need to do. Now we're going to set the depth. Now, we're going to set the depth. Let me turn around this way so you can see. We're going to set the depth to suit the overall depth of this cut. Again, really straightforward. We can just lift up the back of the saw until we are at the depth of the cut. There we go. Right, so that's that, all right? So now we set that, we'll lock that off for a minute. We're going to do the cross cuts first. Now the cross cuts, we are just going to use a square again, or I've got my device here I use for using a circular saw against quite a lot, because I can set the angles of it, and you can see that just operates like a square. So we will use that. Let me just get this out the way for a minute. Get my headphones on and we'll do our cross cuts first. Do all of those. Just lining the blade up, and this is obviously being kept square here. It's giving us a perfectly nice cut. Now this part of the job is going to be a little bit more interesting, because what we're going to do is we're going to release the depth on the circular saw and we're going to use it like a plunge saw. So we're going to actually hold it flat, hold the base flat on the saw, and we're going to plunge the blade down. Let's come in tight for that. Now you can also use a piece of timber. So if you offer the saw against here like this, and I'm going to put a mark just along here. I need to sharpen my pencil a little bit. I get so frustrated about pencils and they have to be just absolutely perfectly sharp, because a pencil line can be of varying thicknesses, and that's what I love about carpenter's pencils, because people think, why are they shaped like this? They're shaped like this because they're exactly ½ an inch that way, they're 1/4 of an inch that way, which means that we can adjust the shape of the lead and get different size scribes. You know, you can get 1/4 of an inch, you can get 1/8 of an inch. It's a really quite useful bit of kit. Right, so if I offer my blade on here like that, this is just an idea, mark here where I'm going to cut out, I can see that the distance from the edge of the blade to here is a certain amount. In fact, this is 29 millimeters. So if I wanted to, I could clamp something on here 29 millimeters away, and that would hold it dead true. Because what you've got to be careful of is when you're plunging is that you can hold the saw solid. Okay, it takes a little bit of practice. I've done it so many times, I'm just going to show you what I mean. So we're going to plunge the saw here. I'm going to lay that on the line here. And you can also keep that parallel, you can see where you're going, and then we're going to give it a go. So I've plunged it fully in, and now I'm just going to come up towards my shoulder, and that will get us most of it cut out. Now for the observant of you, you'll notice that modern saws like this haven't got a riving knife, okay? So that's something which has just been sort of introduced in the last 10 years, but it's much more common on small portable hand saws. But you can see how easy that is, okay? Now I can drop the blade in and come back to the line here, because I don't really want to reverse. It's not too sensible with a saw, but I'll do this one first. I'll do this one again. So we're going to drop in. On the line. I'm at the back now. And straight the way through. And there you got that. So I'll just give that all a blow off. So you can see on my second cut, I started towards the back more and I plunged down and I started working away so I could get virtually all the way through. This one I can finish by just flipping the saw around. I'm trying not to move the timber, okay? So normally I'd be moving it around, and I can drop the saw blade in here. It's a nice fit, and then I can work this way. So let's just do that as well. I'll come around the other side. There's that. Now we're going to just repeat that process on the other side. I'm going to turn that over, but you can see that there's no mess or anything like that. It's really quite straightforward. I'm doing two at once just for speed as well. Okay, so then I'm just going to get inside here because I don't want to move for you guys because I've got the cameras fixed off. I haven't got the luxury of someone filming with me today. Again, dropping it on top. Let me try and give you a different angle. Okay, so let's get these cuts done. I'm climbing in here because I don't want to move the work for you. And it's quite awkward for me because I'm trying to be conscious of the position of the camera. Okay, so one thing you'll note is you've got to be quite competent with this because it's dangerous. We're holding a saw, you've got to be steady. So this is something really I would suggest that professionals try. You see a lot of Americans and Canadians cutting like this. So what I'm talking about is the plunge. Keeping that parallel to know I'm roughly in the right side, and then we're going to plunge. Ready? I'm watching the back of the blade and the front of the blade, and I'm keeping this as parallel as I can. Drop the back of the saw to the corner of the shoulder, but I'm not at full depth yet, so I'm going to start moving forward and to not cut that. I'll try to keep my hand out of the way. I can feel the cut on the other side now. I've gone into it. And now I'm as far as I want to be there. Let's just repeat that process. On this one. Here we go. Try and get my hand out of the way. Bit of final adjustment. I'm also running the blade up when it's not touching that. It's crucial. If it's touching that, it's going to jolt. Into the cut on the other side now. I'll just give that a little blow off just for into that cut and far away. So that's that, basically done. The next job is simple, you might have guessed, just using a handsaw. Now this is engineered oak. If it was solid oak, I could probably tap that and it would just crack across the grain, and I could then pare it back with a chisel. But I'm just going to pull these this way a touch, drop the saw all the way through because the cuts are in line, and just easily finish that off. A little bit of cutting. Can't beat a decent sharp handsaw. There we go. And a little bit here just to make sure that everything's connecting up. Just nice and gentle is the name of the game. Right, that's good. Let's take this bit out here as well. going to turn the saw the other way. I often like doing this, a bit more tricky. It's following my cut. And one thing you'll notice as well is the fact that the modern circular saws, especially battery like this Neuron from Hilti, the kerf of the blade is so thin, it's hardly any thicker than a handsaw there. So that's brilliant as well for cutting like this. So I'm going to finish that process now on this one. Here we go. Just finish that process. And there we have 2 notch newels, which are done. And of course I've been talking through this, so I've slowed it up a bit, but you can see it only takes a matter of minutes to actually do it. So I've slotted in the newels and I've just got to shorten them now, cut them to length, which is basically what I'm doing now. I've got my laser set up upstairs and I'm going to shorten those, cut them off and then fix them back. But you can see basically that is exactly what that notch has done. I've also got the section of nosing that runs over the top and a bit of base rail to give you an idea of what's what. Let's pop up and I'll show you that. So I've got a laser positioned on top of this newel here. I've measured down to there and I've put a cap on. And then I'm just checking the difference, and whatever the difference is what I take off of the newel from underneath. And that's basically how I'd set them up. And then it's just a matter of mortising out here like I've done here for the handrails, fixing it in, and I fix it behind here. There's that in another video you might find on this channel. And that's it, ready for the spindles. And there's the base rail. This is the base rail. This is the sample of it. It's going to go into there. This is the nosing I've made. And I've put a groove in the back of that for the apron lining, which goes on the front here, up into the groove and finishes everything off super neatly. And that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed that video. It's all about putting a simple notch in a piece of timber. This is an oak newel post. It could be a softwood newel post. Indeed, it could be anything that needs a housing or a notch.